Good afternoon and welcome to my channel, Watercolor Painting in the Afternoon. Today I'm doing something a little bit different for Meditative Monday. I'm feeling a little bit chaotic and out of sorts, and so today I just decided to make marks, and I didn't really care how it turned out. I started out by painting on some cellophane wrap, plastic wrap, and then pulling the wrap up to see what would happen. I actually think it would make pretty good water if you wanted to do it that way. But at any rate, what I ended up making today I think is kind of a mess, but it also taught me a lot. It taught me some things about mark making and how to do it and what looks good and what doesn't. Using the cellophane wrap, I continued to play with making marks on the paper, and I'm just going to let you see some of that. I'm not going to play music today or anything like that. I was already feeling enough, feeling overwhelmed enough that I didn't really want music to be playing with it too. And send in some red to go with the green, just making splotches. Sometimes when I'm feeling chaos like that, just doing something, even if I have zero idea where it's going to go, it helps to just make marks, to just play with the paint. And even if it ends up being an absolute hot mess, it just doesn't matter. It can be anything you want it to be. So I think if you are looking for something that turns out beautiful today, scroll on. I'm not doing that. I'm just meditating, being quiet, working with my hands. I kept looking for shapes to emerge in this crazy looking picture of blobs, and so I didn't see any shapes emerging. So I did try to force the issue here by just making flowers around some of the bigger blobs and seeing where that went. At this point, the painting was so busy and chaotic itself that I was considering just stopping filming and putting it away, trying to do something different that might be more aesthetically pleasing. And I sat and looked at it for a minute and just couldn't decide, so I kept going, kept moving. Sometimes that's all that you can do, right? It's just keep going, see what happens. And so, because it was already busy, I just decided, well, why not make it busier? So I started putting lines in, and to my surprise, that actually did seem to calm some of the chaos in the painting. I sometimes find line making to be one of the most calming things that I can do in a painting or a drawing. It's just making straight lines. And some people think they can't make straight lines. Well, I'm not making straight lines. If you take a good look at it, they're not exactly straight. So don't be afraid to play with lines and dots and other marks like that fill in your painting. Here I decided to make lines with white ink, and the white ink didn't really want to cooperate with my glass pen there, but I eventually got it to make some marks that I liked, and one that distressed me until I just made something out of it, and that's coming up in a few minutes. And there was the mistake. That's okay. Like I said, I took that and I tried to make something interesting out of it. And here again, I was just looking at the painting thinking, oh my goodness, would anybody ever be able to tell what that is? And is it anything at all? Maybe it's just a bunch of craziness that's coming out of my own brain, and I should just stop here. But honestly, I think that may be what meditation is about, is just letting things appear on their own. Sometimes it's reflective of what's going on in your own head. So if you paint something chaotic, perhaps it's taking the chaos that's in your own mind and putting it on paper. And that is somehow calming. It may not turn into some kind of frameable piece of art, but it is calming to the spirit. Almost like a prayer that you send up that's full of, I don't understand, and I can't take much more of so-and-so or this or that. And it doesn't have to make a lot of sense. It just has to reflect where you are. Another good thing that was happening while I was making this piece was that I was discovering some techniques that perhaps I could use in a more controlled way later. The lines, the drips, using blobs and seeing shapes in them. Really, I knew that I could use that initial technique that I did with the saran wrap to make water, because that really did look a little bit like water to me. And some of these techniques that I'm using, I may very well transfer to a better painting, to something that I can do later in a more controlled way. I sat and looked at this painting for a long time. And I finally decided that perhaps I needed to fill in some of the painting so that it wouldn't be quite so busy. And here I was just trying to dot in a center to these white flowers, but nothing was really working. And my frustration was mounting a little bit. And I just sat and looked at it, not sure what to do. So the answer was to fill some things in. I started with the leaves, put in some green so that at least you could see it as a leaf. And then I started filling in the red. Some red petals on the flowers so that they would stand out a little bit better. In the end, even after I finished filling in those things I thought would needed filling in, that would make it look better. Even after that, I came back later and I put some more lines in. I put a little bit of gold in, gold ink, and discovered that gold ink also can help to calm a painting because your eye is really drawn to it. And sometimes if there's one thing that your eye is drawn to, then the rest of the chaos kind of goes to the background. And you'll see, I didn't film that part, but you will see the finished product. So I guess my point here is, if you've stuck with me this far, I deeply appreciate it. Thank you so much. My point is that you don't have to make something frame-worthy. You don't have to paint something that is show-stopping and beautiful all of the time. Sometimes what you're doing is experimenting and playing and taking what's in your head and putting it on paper. And there really is something so calming about that. I do feel better after having painted this. I do feel like some of the chaos in my own mind has been transferred to the paper. And in the end, I can just shut the book. And it's done. And I can concentrate then on other things. So this is just about done, and I'll show you the final, this is the final result. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that you've painted something of your own, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.